There are beams of energy crossing the universe right now that are narrower than a city block and longer than the distance between galaxies. You've never heard of them. Nobody told you they existed. And one of them, aimed at exactly the right angle, would end every living thing on this planet before you finished reading this sentence. You would not see it coming. You would not feel it approach. You would simply be here, and then the world would not be. What is the shape that kills a planet? Right now, somewhere in the Milky Way, a dying star is collapsing. Not the slow, red kind of death you have read about. This is violent, instantaneous. The core of a massive star, one that burned for 10 million years, folds inward in less than a second. The outer layers explode outward in a supernova. But before any of that reaches you, something else escapes first. Two jets of pure gamma radiation, thinner than you would expect, focused by magnetic fields stronger than anything in our solar system, fire out from the collapsing poles at the speed of light. They are not wide. They are surgical. A pencil of fire, 1 to 2 degrees across, cutting through space at 300,000 kilometers per second. That is a gamma ray burst. Scientists call the ones we can measure from Earth GRB 221009A, detected in October 2022 by the Fermi Gamma Ray Space Telescope, the brightest burst ever recorded. It came from 2 billion light-years away. It still temporarily blinded our instruments. That one missed us by 2 billion years of distance. But here's the problem. Not all of them are that far away. There are approximately 40 massive stars within 6,000 light-years of Earth that are physically capable of producing a gamma-ray burst. Eta Carinae, 170 light-years away, is one of them. It has been convulsing for centuries. When it finally collapses, the question is not whether it will produce jets. The question is whether one of those jets is pointed at us. The odds sound small. The angle required is narrow. But the universe has been running this lottery for 13 billion years, and every single ticket eventually gets pulled. If one of those jets reaches Earth, the first thing that happens is invisible. Gamma radiation, traveling at the speed of light, hits the upper atmosphere and begins stripping nitrogen molecules apart. This produces nitric oxide. Nitric oxide destroys ozone. The entire ozone layer, the invisible shield that has protected complex life for 500 million years, begins dissolving in real time, not in decades, not in years, in hours. Studies modeling a 10-second burst from a source within 6,000 light-years suggest ozone depletion of up to 90%. In less than a day, every surface on Earth facing the source is exposed to levels of ultraviolet radiation that no land animal can survive. Your skin burns before you understand what is happening. Every crop in the irradiated hemisphere withers in the fields. The ocean surface, which absorbs ultraviolet like a sponge, begins dying from the top down. Phytoplankton, which produces more than half the oxygen you breathe, dies in hours. But it gets worse. The hemisphere facing away from the burst survives the initial radiation. The night side of Earth, whatever population exists there, watches the sky turn strange. The atmosphere on the lit side begins emitting in wavelengths that have not appeared in the sky since before complex life existed. The magnetic field, disrupted by the particle wave that follows the initial gamma pulse, fluctuates. Compasses stop working. Power grids collapse. The world your civilization was built on, every satellite, every communication system, every piece of infrastructure linked to electrical infrastructure, goes dark simultaneously. The Voyager probes, still transmitting from the edge of the solar system, fall silent. No signal reaches Earth. No signal leaves it. And this is where everything changes. The survivors on the dark side inherit a planet without an ozone layer, without working technology, without functional ocean food chains, and without any realistic timeline for recovery. Models suggest the ozone layer would take between 5 and 10 years to partially rebuild, assuming the burst does not repeat. In those years, growing food outdoors under full sun is impossible across most latitudes. This is not a war. There is no enemy to surrender to. There is no negotiation. The planet simply becomes hostile to the civilization that lived on it. Astronomers will tell you the probability is low. They are right. A burst perfectly aimed at Earth from a close enough source during human history is genuinely unlikely. It has probably not happened in the last 500 million years of complex life. That is the reassurance. Here is what they do not say loudly. It has happened to other solar systems. The evidence is in the fossil record of exoplanets we have imaged, in the chemistry of distant atmospheres, in the silence of solar systems that should have complex life and do not. The universe does not track our probability estimates. It simply runs experiments, and some experiments end early. You are not the first civilization to look up at a dying star and calculate the odds. You are just the most recent one still here to do it. The others stopped calculating at some point, not because they found the answer, but because the question found them first. The shape that ends the world is a line, perfectly straight, infinitely patient, traveling at the maximum speed the universe permits. It does not know you exist. It does not need to.